Hello everybody, this is Blu Crystalline Phoenix, Commander in the United Space Force Department in the ET Unit Statistic, as well as Quantum Twin to Donald Trump, in which I am right in front of here. Psyops on the Rocks by Mar Largo. Up-to-date itinerary codes that need to be placed from fortification speeds and the processes that go with it. The number one process is going with this is between September and October and November of this year. What is going to happen is they are going to try and justify a major COVID variant against this entire planetary matrix. The Alpha Centaurus are nothing but a cause and effect of a problem. And the self-diagnosis streams of what they will do and what they will uptune their processing speed, if it goes what they want planned for, will cause a lot of defamation upon this realm. If we cannot wake up to this, there's going to be a problem, and it's going to settle us forward. This goes to show about COVID shots and flu shots. How would they accept that perimeter and actually put those things together like they have? Now, if people really think about it, how flu shots came to be through Big Pharma itself and the replication codes, that if you take it, you're still acclimating the virus. The virus is actually within these shots, and it pretty much justifies pushing the hologram into accepting that. Most people usually, when they get these shots, they get sick anyways. They get sick anyways is because they have that type of either variant within it, whether it's dealing with this COVID bull, or even flu shots itself. I would say stay away from both, if I were you. Flu's nothing but something that was man-made. It's very similar to what COVID had, and still has. There are similar properties, even with the cold itself, cymatically mixing them up. The best thing to do is to keep your immune system high. Keeping your immune system high and staying away from things that would pretty much pull you down. And another thing to wake up to for everybody is the heat polarizing upon this realm that is planned. I've talked about this before, you know, how Biden wants to boo-hoo about Maui and Hawaii and all this. But the plans need to be polarized forward and to move him away from the actions he is dealing with, because his actions are not causing good leeway conjunctures. There's no common ethical sense. In distribution scene, even if it was acted upon your own, you should just already start rebuilding the fortifying processing codes that already were damaged there. And possibly getting tuned into why it even happened in the first place, instead of openly hiding things. Cause and effect as well. We are going to discuss about things that have happened in the beginning of August and are happening here towards the end of August. Preset limitatory affairs that have dealt with an Arcturian frequencies, the data speeds of what Space Force and the pre-ops and military and other agenda spheres through Air Force have distributed. Aeronautical inlet defense streams, as well as polarizing an actual higher plateau forward. Settling in, there have been military affairs that were routed into this, but as well there have been extraterrestrial paradox affairs that process this through this as well. These higher affairs had dealt with the forces reenactment code, as well as others that had settlized into ascension processing speeds. These processing speeds had dealt with the preliminary effects that would have circulated upon this planet during the timelines. That is why there had been a much higher wind effect towards the end of August. These last week to 2 weeks have an indefinite reroute of a circulatory or electromagnetic circulatory codes that were being reestablished here upon interface. I don't know how many people are watching, but if any of you have any questions whatsoever concerning about fires, concerning about the elements going on, concerning about world affairs at hand, don't hesitate to please text it down. There's the reason why I'm here doing Psyops on the Rocks by Mar Largo, by Donald Trump's place, so I can give out the information as well as answer any benefits towards anybody's end that may help an establishment for a better understanding. Until then, we got to move forward. We got to do what we can do to make things more protective upon this realm. Sir Biden has fundamentally wanting to deconstruct a lot of innovation codes that have dealt with different types of military. In his own wavelength, he wanted to reestablish just polarizing anyone and everyone outwards to any damn country that he feels like. You know, this thing with Ukraine has to stop, and people need to make a stand down, meaning standing down to their own perimeters and stopping what they're doing. I don't care what side you're on, because the underscore effect is this. There are still tunnelized systems under Ukraine itself. These tunnelized systems traffic children, and they also traffic certain types of drugs, up to including what Mr. Biden has correlated in the White House, cocaine. We don't need this. We don't need this. We do not need this at all. People need to wake up. That's why they had found those drugs in the White House in the first place. You know, if you really want to pay attention and get in the know, get in the now, you're going to understand that this current president here is bought statistic code, and he's re-replicated at a negative Psyops effect. We need better leadership when it comes to the protocols that have to be placed and polarized upon an entire realm. Military affairs behind the scenes in conjunction are already fighting against each other, the good and the bad, to try their best, our best, to protect mankind. We got to think clearly and deeply why Mr. Biden even wanted to establish HARP in the process and deconstruct Space Force. He does not care about Space Force because he is rerouted into his own coding effect through HARP. HARP is another establishment, if you will, through a programmable speed that elevates the elementals and deconstructs certain things upon the planet. Bringing this only brings more chaos. Fundamentally, yes, it is a newer thing being transited upon mankind within the last probably 5 to 10 years. 10 years tops. But now the processing speeds for everybody to understand and go with their own flow. To note, we are dealing with a world war. But that war is going to cease and end soon because we have Commander here. And he is on top and on protocol. He's the big man. Whether people want to believe this or not, he's the one that established many different scenes of effect to help bring and fund a better realm, a better existence. There have been many warning labels about how Donald Trump would end up being jailed for a substantial wavelength that never needed to be placed upon him. We need to start paying attention to who's currently being in the role of the White House right now. The red flags already went about when they had drugs on the property. The red flags already went about when they had already found documentations between him and his son and the shit that they're doing. Between Joseph Biden and his family. He does correlate messing with kids. He does correlate messing with his own family. How can you be a good leader if you're going to do this? This is setting the example backwards instead of forwards. And if it was up to me, I would cut off the limitary scale waves of the Republican and Democrats and what they want to motivate forward between this baloney and set just a diagnosis straight equalization stream for the proper leaders and or peoples to maintain establishment here. Originally, we need to get back to that and make a better understanding of what we all can do. Military is only going to do so much. The good side, the white hats, are only going to do so much to protect mankind. But you all got to process your own too and motivate things forward. We can give out the information. We could code in the hints and the clues. But you all have to know your no's and nows and get into that, like my friend Derek would say, because you're going to go back. You have less than a year until the inductive form of what's being polarized between Democrat and Republicans come in. Honest truth is, it's just going to go over and over again unless we take a stand forward. Thanking the fellow militaries for what they do to protect mankind. Much thanks and love for them for establishing what they can to help. God bless those that have been lost. But we got to make things better here. Everyone can make a difference. Now wake up, or you're going to deal with 4 more years of chaos. The space age is coming, but to press that forward, to move it forward, we all have to ascend. We have to ascend and accept of who we really are. We are the chosen light bearers, and we all will make a stand and come forward. And those that elevate themselves in the dark have so much time left. I don't care about this world order agenda. There are 2 different ones. There's the opposite military one moving in through the white hats to make things better for a quantum age. And maybe establishing that the fundamentals through the Aether programming speeds, your soul, and the fundamental forces of life itself be established. Or there's the stupidity order that's being indoctrinated by these Alpha Centauras. The reptilian races that want anything but them. They don't want anything else. They want what they want. And they will deconstruct and reroute their processing speeds. It did say in written documentation, and I know a lot of the Bible may not be considered in fact, but there are codes in there. It is considered real to a statistic point, but there's a lot that is said, and like others have said, there have been pages that have been taken out from Vatican governments. A lot of speeding ways have been taken out. But note to this, the priority of effect 1,000 years established for a realm, that is real. We are all in revelations right now. Except the thinking to the fact in your mind core, it's not going to be exactly like the wording had stated. There are demons running amok on this planet. They know better, and they're going to have to stand down. They're going to have to stand down. We have less, I believe, in about 4 months to the beginning of the year. This is Wake Up Call 101. That's why the Doomsday planes were there Monday when I had talked to Derek. Why he had mentioned about 3 different Doomsday planes being categorized. Inertially, they're going to fundamentally put something and polarize something over with this COVID. It's going to create havoc. But if you're smart enough to process your way around it, do so. And those that are working in the laws and the governments on the good side, get your acts together and stop. Stop inertially adjusting into this wavelength, or stop the processing speeds of the negative biopsis ones that would cause this. There are several star units in repose. through military agenda speeds within the last week, especially around Mar Largo area. That's another thing. And the pin on Donald Trump's suit recently that he wore when he had dealt with talking to someone and they filmed him, he had a Galactica pin on him. A cosmic Galactica pin. The reasons why he has that, he is pointing outwards. He is hinting everybody of what's coming. The man's not stupid, not in the lightest. And if everyone wants to pay attention and really understand, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, I'm not here for that. Get past that. But pay attention to his codes. Ignore the fucking bullshit that, excuse my language, ignore the crap that he explains about or that he yells about or that don't make sense and get in to his codes. He is starting to code now. And it's not just him, it is others too. The best way to wake others up is to help find a location sphere within their neural mind and activate it. There are certain deactivation coding effects set by mankind, especially with what they had researched through their incorrelates, these negative Alpha Centauras. And by that, if you find and wake up that certain point of effect, you're going to be able to dislodge the negative interference lines that they had re-replicated. A lot of the processing speeds, and I've noticed this myself, since COVID shot, since 4 years ago, the people I personally have known have changed and altered within their cognitive functions. They may have woke up, but they have been dislodged. And it's being scattered everywhere like this. People are changing. They're not neurally standardizing their own wavelengths. They're going back because of the reproducing processing speeds of the DNA being correlated downwards. There are biochemicals in their products that destabilize the mind. And when they destabilize the mind, it could cause the mind to suffer, and it could cause the actual soul to suffer. They have a lot of these out now, and that's causing problems. So that's one reason people are not getting woke up proper. They are being biochemically induced and neurally ensnared by programming speeds, especially through networking streams. If we can find a way around that, it'll wake them up easier. And we all know this is the truth. It's probably, people will try to avoid the news nowadays. Avoid other things. Because it is a major mind ensnarement program. They are trying their best to dumb mankind down. Not all. They are picking the races. We don't pick races. Fundamentally, there are thousands of planets, each race. Whites, blacks, Central Americans, Native Americans, Indians, Chinese, Japanese, all of them. They can all go into their own gridding points, their own planets. This is nonsense otherwise. This is nonsense to judge each other by your color. Like to wake up call of what I am as a starseed. There are many other different types of beings. I'm going to show you this tattoo like this. Quantum twin to Donald Trump. Him and I are processing speeds from another planetary realm. We are time travelers, if you will. But there are many other signalized events that correlate through things. Setting into the example as thus. As starseeds, you all should know and generate to a better algorithm to help this planet. Because that will stabilize things. Until then, when people be judging each other and they're racing against the timelines to try to decimate the color agenda sphere, we don't do that. Like I said, other races like beings like this, grays, reptiles, Other races, they have programmable speeds. They have families that are close to interlinking like human statistic codes of different color variants, but they run their own planetary realms. They're cousins, they're families, just like humans would be, but a little different. But they're managing. They self-manage. They don't fight between each other and try to decimate the other agenda spheres. If humanity cannot get that together, maybe a deeper understanding of moving the agenda in a better wavelength like that. Instead of trying to nitpick and point to just taking into one race, to one color sphere. Let's all get our shit together, make it right. One of the reasons why the countries were divided like they were was because of the colors and because of the variants and the people, the way they acted through the times. Fundamentally, there's a way to fix all this since we're fighting against each other. There are 3, 4, 5 different ways to fix this. Go back to the way you were through the fundamentals of splitting country opposite ways and maybe making it better through a federation protocol. Moving the races, the different types of shell-fortifying speeds of humans into different planetized grids. So that way maybe they're not fighting against each other, they're trying to decimate the races. There are different ways to motivate this. Genocide isn't one of them. Genocide's not getting you nowhere. Let's stop the genocide. Let's start saving lives. We can't save lives if we're killing it. An important agreement to move it forward. Things are going to get worse with this planet, but it's slowing down now. And it's going to cease to a halt as long as we can make that motivation to doing such. They're going to try their COVID and variant calling codes between September and November. And it's going to cause problems unless we all find a way to rectify these beings of what they are diagnosing with CDC, WHO, with Big Pharma, all of them. They are ensnaring the masses, and we don't need that. Who the hell is holding the quantum medical beds? The capabilities of the technologies that fundamentally, automatically remove sicknesses and heal the shell's biopsis grid. Donald John Trump, the Federation, and others hold it. We are upset that our own ingrading points are not being reestablished because they want to go ahead and try one last push. Let's not let this happen. Let's not let the COVID push happen. Let's all take a stand forward and make a motivation for the quantum age. Tell these creatures to stand the hell down. Like I said, we need to make a standoff with these beings, push their balancing stream off. We don't need CDC, we don't need WHO, we don't need Big Pharma, because there are many technologies behind the scenes that they want to bring out. They can't do this until this stops. Activated point of effect, it's going to stop. We have to set that perimeter. This is not just for our own, but it's also for each individual themselves, making a stand. Let's make that stand forward. Anybody else have any questions before I go? It's not going to be as long as what it is with Derek, because it's just up-tuned processing speeds dealing with military and other affairs. If you don't have anything, I will get back in tune with everyone on Monday. It's also my birthday on my shell's fortifying speeds, but I'm still going at it. Every day's a work day for my own. We got to make and establish good effects here. Let's all do this. Move forward. Until then, everybody, keep up your good work. Get into the doctrine effect of the knowledge that you know and avoid the stupidity. We all love you. Donald Trump, he loves everybody. Even though the man's got a damn short fuse, he cares. I don't see Biden caring not a damn bit when he's acting like he is. If we can't get Donald Trump back into presidency, then it's time to make the Federation happen. Over and out.